When I'm awake, I don't feel real. When I'm asleep, I'm back in the war. I want to come home. I don't know how to be home. I only want to drink. When I close my eyes, I see fear. When I open my eyes, I see anger. I feel hate for everybody I see. We are at war, I want to scream. But there is no one there to listen. I don't feel real. I don't feel like I'm in America. I want to smash the windows. I want to smash the faces of my friends who forget a soldier's story. I lost myself when I came home. I am looking for who I am. I don't recognize who I am. I don't feel real. My thoughts go too slow and too fast. Once upon a time, before the war, I was just a kid. I had two friends, Amanda and Jim. Jim's mother and Amanda's mother had breast cancer. While I waited for my mother to finish work, we would play at the hospital. My mother was a nurse. Jim's dad owned nightclubs. Jim's dad had a cool car. Jim's mom was so beautiful. Once we went driving. Jim's mom was from Africa. I always imagined Jim's mom as my mom because I was adopted as a baby. I feel that telling you this is bullshit. I feel that my life is over. I feel like I survived the war and came home to die. But I'm not dead. I'm going to make sense of my life. I'm going to tell you my story and win the war in myself. I love my adoptive mom and dad, but I always wished that Jim's dad was my real dad. Amanda's dad was a preacher on TV. My dad taught sociology. I asked my mom if Amanda's mom and Jim's mom were going to be okay. She said that their cancers had a high probability of survival. My dad taught me how to calculate probability. I don't mind statistics, but I wanted to know if they were going to die. Amanda's mom said a strange thing to me before she started chemotherapy. She said that Christ had abandoned her. I didn't understand, so I asked my mother. Mom said religion was superstition. Dad agreed. I felt frightened and angry to hear that. Jim's dad believed in God. Jim's mom believed in God. Amanda's dad believed in God. Amanda's mom believed in God, only she felt abandoned by God. Maybe I was abandoned by God. I feel abandoned by God. Maybe Mom and Dad were abandoned by God. I wondered what was the statistical probability of being abandoned by God. I just thought of something. It wasn't God who abandoned Amanda's mom. It was her husband. The same way I abandoned Amanda. From 1990 to 1998, we all rode the bus to elementary and middle school. We fought the first Gulf War when I was in first grade. We fought the Serbs when I entered high school. Before we learned about all the wars, one afternoon, on the way home from school, Amanda and I stopped at Jim's house. When Jim's mom wasn't looking, we went up to the attic. We found an old trunk and looked inside. There was a pistol, a jacket, and a flag. There were lots of old photographs and weird things on a string. I remember that Amanda screamed they were ears and we ran away. Then we went back and touched them. Many times. Jim said his father had been in special forces in Vietnam. Jim said we should never go back and touch the ears again. But we did go back. Many times. We prayed not to, but we went back. By the end of middle school, Jim's mom was really sick. Jim told us she was going to die. Amanda said we should pray for her at her dad's church. Amanda said prayer had helped her mom get better after surgery. Jim's mom had surgery too, but the cancer came back. My mom said that her cancer had metastasized and prayer wouldn't help. My mom always made me so mad. I told her she was a phony liberal. She didn't care about black people. The only reason she adopted me was that she felt guilty about being white. I wasn't liberal. I was Christian. No matter how hard I prayed, Jim's mom still died. After the funeral, we went to Jim's attic and took the ears. We played Hear Ear in the parking lot. Later that evening, I asked my mother about Vietnam. She said Vietnam was an imperialistic war, and all Americans who fought were war criminals. My mother can still be clueless. Right before the funeral, my father left her. He started another family. When he left, it was like a light went out inside her. When I told Amanda about my dad, she got very quiet. The next day, our science teacher caught Amanda with the ears. I felt helpless, like I was 6 years old. I said the ears were mine. Mr. Pritchard, the assistant principal, wanted to know where I got the ears. They called my mom and they called the police. My dad came. Amanda's dad came with a woman from the choir. He told me to confess, so I did. I sort of lied. I told them I had the ears all along, and Amanda took them to tell the teacher. I told them about the trunk and Jim's dad. On my way out, I saw Jim's dad going into the school. Jim said they almost arrested his dad, but some cops were vets, so they let him go. My mother said Jim's father was a war criminal. My mother said that Amanda's father was a hypocrite. My mother said my dad was intellectually dishonest. What did she mean by intellectually dishonest? I was intellectually dishonest. I hurt a soldier, a hero. I went to Amanda's dad's church. Amanda wasn't there. Amanda's mom said that Amanda was at Jim's house. My mom didn't want me to go to Jim's house anymore, but I walked over anyway. Jim just stared, and Amanda smiled. I said I was sorry and went home. During high school, I would talk to Amanda's mother. I told her about Jim's dad and how badly I felt about what I did to him, but I never told her how Amanda took the ears. I didn't want to get Amanda into trouble. By the end of high school, Amanda was dating Jim. We often talked about what we would do after graduation. Amanda and I joined the Army, and Jim joined the Marine Corps.